The LGBTQ community in St. Louis is large and diverse. And as Anne-Marie Berger explains, despite the Supreme Court recently striking down the Defense of Marriage Act, this community faces many challenges when it comes to health care.
So let this dry. Beep, beep.
So basically with screen printing, this ink will dye fabric and natural fibers too, including your hair, so you need to be careful about that.
The folks at Growing American Youth, a space where lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning young people can be themselves and find support, are screen printing shirts for their march in the upcoming Pride Fest. Scott Emmanuel is the lead advisor for Growing American Youth.
Well, there are a lot of people that sometimes are surprised that young people at young ages can understand and process what sexual orientation and gender identity means. And many of them, when they're in a space where they can do just that, they can excel and do extraordinary things. We see young people in all of their awesomeness and all of their brokenness.
According to the Missouri Foundation for Health's LGBT Health Equity Report, fewer than 15 primary care physicians in the state have registered as LGBT affirming in the Gay and Lesbian Medical Association's online provider network, as well as only 6 behavioral health providers and 2 alternative medicine providers.
They're vulnerable in terms of how they're accepted by their peers and especially within their family.
Dr. Darrell Hudson is a professor at the George Warren Brown School of Social Work at Washington University.
Could potentially develop a mental health problem, depression, anxiety, that can linger into adulthood.
Dr. Hudson points out that a lack of medical access for the LGBT community is a cross-generational issue.
People who are not covered, for instance, under their partner's health insurance, certainly can be a factor for what type of access, healthcare access that individuals have.
You got to perform for this. Okay, sit, sit.
No one is more familiar with this issue than Arlene Zaremka and Sulema Tang Martinez. A professor at the University of Missouri St. Louis since 1978, Sulema was on the front lines pushing to include sexual orientation on the university's anti-discrimination policy. That battle was won in 2003.
And then after that, we began advocating, pushing for domestic partner benefits.
Sulema and Arlene celebrated 30 years together this past February, and they say the cost of their health insurance inequity has been high.
We lost collectively tens of thousands of dollars, literally, because my health insurance premiums were so much higher because I was at a small group plan, and my deductible is so much higher than what I would have been if I had been able to be on her plan as her spouse or domestic partner. We would have more money for retirement in the bank.
And so essentially what you had was a 2-tier system where those employees who were legally married were getting greater compensation, significantly greater compensation, than were employees who were in a committed partner relationship but who were not legally married. And again, regardless of whether those partnerships were same-sex or opposite sex.
1 week ago, the University of Missouri Board of Curators voted unanimously to include the 1+1 plan, allowing any employee eligible for benefits the right to include their domestic partner on their health plan. And while it is a victory worth celebrating, Sulema and Arlene's battle isn't over. Sulema is now retired from full-time teaching.
Well, certainly people retiring in the future, it is very clear that they will be included and that their partners will get benefits.
And the story continues from one generation to the next.
So these young people, LGBTQ young people, are often deemed as only in need, only needing our support. And they need our support, no question. But I think what happens though is that we don't see them as viable community members right now, right here, as much as anyone else is.